Okay, so I got the red across my StreamYard, which means that we are live. Now I just gotta wait for YouTube to notify Vibe Nation that we are live, and then we can begin with tonight's festivities. And I still don't see anything. Come on, YouTube. Come on. Come on, YouTube. What are you doing? What are you doing, YouTube? Come on. Come on, YouTube. Come on. Let them know. Let them know. Come on. Let them know. Let me turn it down. Still nothing. I still have nothing from the YouTube. Yep. Oh my goodness. I mean, is YouTube crapping out on notifications tonight? I guess so. I don't know what's going on here, but still no notification from the YouTube. Come on, YouTube. I mean, we got people showing up in the chat, so that's good. But
they were waiting.
All right, there's a scheduled live stream, so that's not surprising. But I'm gonna need YouTube to put out the notification, which they are not doing yet. What's up, Genosis and Lethal Emperor, John Michelle? How y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing? You are always rocking with your boy. I appreciate you guys. As you can see, I am joined tonight by Greg Gadget. Might be joined by some other folks tonight. I'm not sure, but right now it's me and Greg, and we're gonna have a chit chat. I guess we have to start without YouTube sending out the notification because they're taking all damn day. You know? I guess the notification might be broke tonight. I don't know. You know what? Since the notification may be broke, let me tweet this out real quick, and then we can go from there, and we'll start the conversation. Since YouTube seems hell-bent on not putting out the notification that we're live tonight, that's not cool. I haven't live streamed more than 3 times in 24 hours. Don't watch me get notifications. What are we doing here? All right, we are live. All right, and I'm gonna tweet this out as such, and probably paste that link. Booyah! All right. All right, so now the Twitter know that we are live. Finally, the notification from I got some stuff. As soon as I put it on Twitter, the YouTube finally notified Vibe Nation that we are live. So we should be joined by a bunch of people shortly here. And yeah, that'll be cool. But I put out a video tonight on the main channel. What's up, Tech Fiends? How you doing? Talking about Apple versus the FBI, the fight for your privacy. This has actually been an ongoing thing over the past like 5 years or so, maybe. It started in 2016 with the San Bernardino shooting out in California. The FBI requested Apple to help them unlock an iPhone, or they requested Apple to unlock the iPhone. Apple refused because the FBI wanted more than Apple to just unlock an iPhone. The FBI wanted Apple to build a back door into iOS, subsequently putting every iPhone at risk. And Apple was like, oh, no. So actually, the crazy thing about that is that the FBI actually got a court to mandate Apple help them. But then in the middle of the proceedings, the FBI dropped the procedures because they found a third party to unlock that iPhone. Now, they still haven't said to this day, oh my God, is that Crystal White? Whoa! I have not seen you in forever. How you doing, Krista? How you doing? Wow. Welcome back. But like I said, the FBI actually had court backing that would that they were trying to use to force Apple to unlock that iPhone for the San Bernardino killer. But then the FBI dropped the proceedings because they found a third party. Now, they never really told us who the third party was, but it was rumored to be an Israeli company called Cellebrite. Now, when Cellebrite figured out how to get into the iPhone, they did it by brute forcing the lightning port. And then they ended up selling that technology to all types of law enforcement agencies, hackers, and things like that. But, Apple, they got wind of that. So with iOS 11.4, they patched it up. And they patched it up by putting a software update into the iPhone that disabled the lightning port after 1 hour inactivity. So, I mean, usually when the FBI or law enforcement get their hands on these iPhones, it's usually after an hour of inactivity. So they could no longer brute force the lightning port. That would slam the door. That door slammed shut. Fast forward to 4 years later, and here we are again. Unfortunately, we had another incident at a naval base in Florida, and the shooter is no longer with us. But the FBI have requested Apple to help them get into the phone. Now, Apple said that they gave the FBI all the data that they had stored on the iCloud service as it relates to this particular phone. But the FBI wants more than that. They want more help. They want Apple to unlock this iPhone or give them the key to unlock the iPhone. So here we are again with this FBI versus Apple encryption debate. Like I said, I got my man Greg Gadget with me tonight to talk about this because, as I said in my video, There is no way in hell Apple should help the FBI unlock this iPhone. But Greg, where do you stand on this?
I totally agree with you. Apple should not help the FBI unlock this iPhone. And like we were talking about just a little bit before the stream started, I think there's a big misconception out there that I think we should just dispel right away.
Yeah.
It's not like Tim Cook has the passcode to this iPhone sitting in a drawer somewhere and he can go into that drawer and go, okay, well, here's the passcode, but we don't feel like giving it to you because we have such a stance on privacy, even for, murderers. It's more that Apple would have to develop a backdoor into their software on every iPhone because they couldn't just put it on, like one iPhone. They'd have to develop the software that would have a backdoor for every single iPhone. And that would have to be deployed for a software update. And that would mean that every iPhone would be compromised in some sort of way because anyone who has the keys to that encryption would be able to open it. So even if they developed a super secure encryption, they had a super secure key, and maybe for a couple of years, maybe just Apple and the FBI and the government had access to it and everything's fine. But then one day a hacker gets access to that, a rogue FBI employee, they leave it on a website. You see like these companies now, they leave like plain text passwords to everyone's accounts on a website. It happens like all the time, these security compromises. Then all of a sudden, every single iPhone that Apple sells is at risk. Your privacy is at risk. So the biggest thing that you have to realize is it's not like if Apple had the capability to make sure that everyone's privacy would be fine and they could unlock this one phone to help this case out, they absolutely would. But that's not how it works. In fact, if you read the articles detailing this case, Apple has provided as much information as possible, as much information as they have for this guy's iCloud account. They've given it over to the FBI. The only other step that they can take is to develop this backdoor. But again, that would compromise every single iPhone out there.
All right, so Renee Ritchie has done a video on this. I was going to do a video anyway, but then Renee did his video. He beat me to it. I did my video. I put it out tonight, so my video is out on the main channel. As I said in my video tonight, when Greg says you are putting all iPhones at risk, there are over 1.4 billion Apple devices out there in the wild. So you are potentially putting 1.4 billion Apple devices at risk if you build this backdoor for the FBI. Because as I said in my video as well, it's not like they're only going to use it for one iPhone. They want this backdoor to use it for any iPhone that's created or built out there moving forward. You're giving them a master code into iOS. You are giving them a way to break down the iOS code no matter what iPhone comes after it. If they have the foundation for the code, they can create an exploit to get into the code if they have the foundations of the code. So that's why they can't help the FBI. And the other thing that I mentioned in tonight's video is that, and the thing that nobody is talking about, is that the very president of these United States has an iPhone. He tweets from an iPhone, which means if there is a backdoor vulnerability built and it's out there in the wild where anybody can get their hands on it, you are now putting the national security of the United States of America at risk because the president's iPhone could be hacked. So there are a whole bunch of reasons why this cannot happen. You should not want this to happen. This cannot happen. And I know I talked to a couple of certain people on Twitter, and they're like, no, this dude shot certain people. Damn his privacy, blah, blah, blah. And I feel you all. I understand where you're coming from. I completely get it. But are you really going to risk trying to get into one iPhone by putting a billion people at risk to get to one person? No, you would never do that. You wouldn't do that for your own people if you were in a situation where you have to sacrifice one serviceman for a group of them. You would not do that. So you cannot expect Apple to do that right now. It's not happening. No, we don't do that here. It ain't happening. The FBI needs to go do something like they did 4 years ago. But Apple's going to patch it up anyway because that's what Apple does.
Yeah. And another thing you have to realize is the minute that Apple, like, okay, we're in the United States. Maybe we trust our government, whatever. There's like a trust there. We have a history with privacy and, democratic held elections and stuff like that, where we can actually somewhat hold our leaders accountable. What if Apple all of a sudden makes this backdoor available to the US government? Then who's going to ask for it next? You have to realize that there's other oppressive regimes out there, like maybe Russia or China. who don't have these human, as stringent of human rights as the United States or other Western democracies. And if you look at like the situation in Hong Kong, where you have all these, protesters, you give that access to China, and then all of a sudden they can hack into every, iPhone in Hong Kong or any of the protests that happen in China or something like that, and that can squall like free speech. They can suppress free speech by doing that. Yeah, and yeah, it's you would open the floodgates. If Apple did this for the US government, you would have the Chinese government tomorrow going, well, we want it too, or else you're not selling any iPhones.
Exactly, and that's why it can be done. But you know what? We're gonna bring in somebody who disagrees with me. I think Trenton Tech Rant. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on? So Tech Rant, let's hear your side of this argument because you don't agree with me.
I'm not gonna say I fully disagree with you.
Okay.
It's just that I feel like it can't be all or nothing, and there has to be like some provisions put in place. Because my thing is this is like, because I talked to some other people about this before, and a lot of the stuff that I've been hearing and a lot of stuff I've been getting back is, they were talking about, people's rights and stuff. And I'm just like, don't go down that road of rights from somebody who literally took life and rights from someone else. If you want to talk about security, that's one thing. But if you want to talk about, someone who clearly, I'm not talking about if they did a crime, if they're accused of doing a crime. This person literally did the crime, did all of that damage and all that stuff. My thing is with having something in place for those very, very serious types of situations. I'm not talking about opening up the floodgates to where somebody saw if you were on, P-Hub last night or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the very high, very severe type of things.
Okay. So I think we're on the same page in the fact that I agree with you. We shouldn't be giving terrorists like rights to privacy and things like that. I completely agree with you. But like I was saying on Twitter, going after that one terrorist puts 1 billion people at risk. So are you really going to sacrifice 1 billion people to get to one terrorist? I don't think so.
It all depends, because once again, this is kind of going back to the all or nothing type of deal. Now, should the FBI be asking for a backdoor to get into anyone's phone at any time whatsoever? No. I believe that they should set something up with Apple. And I know Greg was talking about how, Apple turned over the data and whatnot. And I agree with that. But only in certain specific cases, and even to go where like, people are going the route of, oh, well, what about the Fourth Amendment? What about the Fifth Amendment? I'm like, well, a lot of that stuff kind of gets thrown out of the window when you actually commit a crime. Okay. A lot of people are talking about the Fourth Amendment from the standpoint of, oh, I got pulled over. This is just going to allow the police just to go through my phone. It's like, well, if you did a crime, they have the right to go through it anyway. We're not talking about people who may have or possibly or anything like that. We're talking about actual proven crime and terroristic acts. That's where I'm limiting my scope to.
Okay. But I'm gonna repeat myself. Well, I'm not repeating myself. I'm just gonna reiterate that even for those instances, Trenton, where you have like acts of terrorism and you absolutely should be able to bypass that terrorist privacy and whatnot, the very existence of having a way to get into that terrorist phone creates a liability for anybody else who has an iPhone. And that's where you run into problems.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could argue that, but I'm also looking at this from, okay, this particular shooter, since we're talking about this case,
right?
He was an actual government employee. He was in the military. Mm-hmm. And when you go in the military, there are certain privacies that you give up. There are 100% certain privacies that you give up when you enlist in the Navy. I was in it. And there are certain other safeguards, and there's all this other stuff about security that literally goes out the window because you essentially, I don't mean to say this to, trigger anyone, but you essentially belong to the government when you enlist. Pretty much you and whatever Like, even if you make something under the government, they can pretty much take it if they want to. This is where I'm saying it all depends on where we go with this, where we label it out. But I just don't like the idea. And this is just personally my idea. I'm not trying to, crap on anybody or hate on anybody. I'm just saying at that level, right there, I just can't agree with it. That's just me.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah. So, and I agree with Trenton, like, completely. Like, I don't think that this person, they revoked their rights the minute they commit a crime, and this person, like, clearly committed a crime. And if there's information on that phone that could prevent another attack or could expose other people in this criminal element, that would be very useful for the government to have. And they should be able to, or, if they could get that information without, exposing everyone else to a privacy risk, I would be all for it. But I think the problem is if we take Apple at their word, and that's all we really have, because I'm not, qualified enough to know, like, the complexities about, having a software operation system or making backdoor keys for it. But if we take Apple at their word, they say the only way that they could do this is to create a backdoor, and to create this backdoor, they would have to create it on every single iPhone. And then once you do that, the floodgates are open. So I would love a middle ground where, like, we live in, like, a perfect world, and we did have a backdoor and we only used it when there was, like, a criminal activity. But just knowing how the world works, the minute something is there to use, it's going to be exploited over and over again for things that it wasn't even intended to. And that's the big issue.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, back in 2016, when the FBI enlisted that Israeli company to unlock the San Bernardino shooter's iPhone, that Israeli company took that information and sold it to law enforcement agencies, hackers, and things like that. So if that type of technology is out there and people can make a profit off of it, they're going to make a profit off of it. And again, it comes back to you're putting a whole bunch of people at risk to get to one person, and is it really worth it at that point? Even if this person, is a known terrorist, they committed a crime, this, that, and the other. Again, are we really going to risk over 1 billion people for one terrorist? I just don't.
Yeah, we could literally create the safest society on earth. We could create a society with, like, a very low crime rate by delving into, like, collecting all this data. We could install cameras everywhere, get their face data. As soon as you see someone, you can have algorithms that predict crime, and you can do all this stuff. You see this happening a lot in China. If you want to see what having zero privacy gets you, look at what they're doing in China, where now they're implementing social credit scores for people. So if you walk into a liquor store and you buy a beer, well, all of a sudden you get a ding on your social credit, and then if you want to go somewhere, if you want to buy something, that can actually impact your life. And they have cameras everywhere, and they're collecting face data all the time. So we could be the safest society on earth if we wanted to do that. And some people might be for that. Some people might go, well, yeah, anything to protect me and my family. But at the same time, is that a society you want to live in, where you sacrifice all of your privacy for security? And just looking at how those systems are abused in other countries, I personally wouldn't want to go down that slippery slope here.
Yeah, I just feel like we're kind of already on somewhat of the slippery slope, because, I mentioned this in the tweet that I put out. It's like every single year people are like, they're harping from the rooftops. They're like, hey, your security is being violated. It's being violated. It's being violated. This company is doing this to your security. That company is doing this to your security. This company knew, and they've even said about Apple, like, hey, they knew about this for a long time, but didn't say anything until this exploit came out, and then now we're on it. So it's like, I get where people have, like, trust issues with the government. At the same time, I have the same trust issues with some of these companies as far as responsibility.
And absolutely, and you are, like I said on Twitter, you're 100% right. These companies, they have all our information. They know everything about us. They track us. They do everything. But again, it's one thing for Apple or Google or Facebook to have your information and just use it to, like, make money and do whatever. It's another thing for a terrorist or a hacker or somebody to have your information who wants to do you harm, who wants to ruin your life, and they can. I mean, we're talking about like possible identity theft, things like that, and that's just like that's the bare minimum. I mean, it could get real crazy if the wrong person has the ability to completely ruin your life.
No, I get that. So the other side of me, this is the devil's advocate speaking, is that where, I mean, people voluntarily give up their security every single day, ignorantly, or they just don't care. So it could, the argument could go either way, honestly. It really could.
Yeah, and that's the middle ground that we're kind of in, like this weird state right now of where we have these companies collecting massive data pools on us, and we do have a right to privacy currently, but you when it's not like a company can just kind of take your data. You have to agree to it. But like you said, like everyone's just clicking through like those user agreements without reading anything. And then if you actually read them, they're using all sorts of data every time you accept a service, every time you use a phone. It's really crazy, like how often you are being tracked. But we are in this middle ground now where we could kind of go on one of two paths. We could through like laws create privacy laws, and then these companies would have to abide by those laws and have to set stricter rules into place and have to do a better job educating consumers rather than burying all that stuff inside a consumer agreement. And we could enact like stricter laws of, well, you can't collect privacy data like this, or you could implement something what Apple's trying to do, where they're trying to, they'll still collect data on you, but they will do it anonymously. It's not necessarily we know where this data is coming from. Or you could go down the other path of, well, our data is already compromised, so why not just let the government have the data, or make Apple give the government the data, and then we'll be even more secure. So it's kind of like these opposing philosophies, and I just look at like what's happening in other states where they have no privacy rights, and I wouldn't want to move there right now. It's scary.
Right. Yeah, well, it's just like I said, my main like the line that I fall on is, if you are 100% guilty, there is no way, zero, like, what I'm saying? Just like when they come across with other stuff of prosecuting people, like you gotta basically meet all these requirements. You gotta tick all these boxes. That's my main thing. And then to allude to Viper's point about the president using an iPhone, well, there are some things that come with that. One, I don't know exactly, because no one knows exactly what the details of his phone are, but based off of what I've seen in the military and the way they do security or whatever, I'm pretty sure whatever phone that he tweets from literally only has the Twitter application, and that is the most locked down phone by the government. Like, they probably went in and disabled so many things because there's security risks as far as making calls, because you can tap into certain radio waves and encryption. I don't know all the stuff, but some security person can probably tell you there's that issue. Then you have to have a secure network, super secure network, to operate off of. So I just don't want people thinking that, well, hey, since the president uses an iPhone, the iPhone is the ironclad standard of can't be hacked. Like, there's other things that go on in between that.
No. That wasn't even my point. My point is that if the president loses that iPhone and there's a hacker out there who has a backdoor into iOS, they could theoretically get into that iPhone that the president left behind or lost somewhere and have access to all our information, all the country's information. And it's all because we allowed the FBI to have this backdoor to catch one terrorist. And it's just, like I said, it's like a domino effect. It's not that the iPhone's unhackable. It's that if the backdoor is this, and I was just using the president as an example, and he loses his iPhone or leaves it somewhere and somebody gets it and hacks into it, there you go.
But I agree with that. It's just when you use the president, right, and you use that certain scenario, you have to take into the account that there is no way in hell that the government is even going to let a certain amount of sensitive information be on there, and there are other safeguards in place beyond Apple.
I would imagine so. I would hope so.
That's where you know what I'm saying. Like I'm not trying to like shoot you down or anything. I'm just saying,
no.
it's just like,
You're right. I mean,
I'm just saying, like like even if you go back, when Obama was using a BlackBerry, okay, he was using a BlackBerry and he was communicating with people, and people were talking about like the security risk back then, but the dude didn't have nothing on the phone. So there's other avenues that come into place, and that's where I'm just like, it can't be that simple as far as a yes or no.
No,
I mean,
you're
it's
right.
more of a simple thing for us to say yes or no, but
So you're
when you
saying
really
the nuclear
dig into
codes,
everything else.
you're saying the nuclear codes aren't stored in Apple.
Right.
Right.
No. It's Tech Rand is right, because I have a work phone. I work for like a large company, and they have their own like mobile management system that they have on my work iPhone. So Trenton's right. There are different protocols in place on those type of phones, but still, if you have the foundation for iOS, then you have an N. You have an N, and as long as you have an N, anything is possible. So that was my whole point.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, and that beyond the fact that there are over 1 billion iPhones and Apple devices out there in the wild, and if there's a backdoor that exists, they're all compromised. So, but like I said, I understand where Trenton is coming from. Like, this dude committed a crime. This dude is now being labeled a terrorist. So he should not be afforded privacy rights. He should not be afforded the luxury of having his iPhone remain under lock and key. I agree, but like I said, I'm not ready to sacrifice 1 billion people for one terrorist iPhone. I'm not about that life. I can't do it.
And they could like have the phone, and then there's like nothing useful on it. And then what did you compromise all of our privacy for? I mean, the San Bernardino shooter, they eventually, like Viper said, they eventually got access through a third party company. And you would think if they found really useful information on there, they would have touted that, going, hey, Apple didn't help us unlock this phone, and thank God we did, because we found so much useful information that actually helped us with all these cases. And ever since they unlocked that phone, you haven't heard anything from them.
Nothing.
They just dropped it immediately.
Nothing. Not a
peep. To come back at you with that, trust me, they're not going to tell you everything. They're only going to tell you what is going to further a certain point or help some things out. There are times where they will find stuff, and even if it would be like the greatest thing to share with the world, they keep it under lock and key, or they keep it as classified information for whatever reason, and then it gets declassified later on. So that's just one thing I just wanted to throw in there. Just
that is true, but I almost feel like without declassifying the information, they could have like released a statement saying this was like really helpful, considering people knew they were trying to get into the phone. But again, maybe they want to just keep that all secret anyway. If they did find anything, that is definitely a possibility.
I mean, like, because, all right, long story short, I'm not going to try and make this too long, but like, back when we were deployed, right, we were over in, we were off the coast of Somalia. So we were basically told, and this is us as enlisted people, we were told that there's this terrorist dude or whatever in this country, and we're just going to go drop 10 missiles on it, right? But when they told us that, they like cut all the communication to the ship. And they literally told us, they're like, you cannot say anything about this, okay? Even when you get in the port and, you talk to your parents, your loved ones or whatever, you cannot say anything. If you type this, if you say anything, you will be, reprimanded for that. So there are certain things that happen with that to where it's just like, yeah, you can't,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to sound like I'm, negative Nancy or anything. I'm just trying to bring like the other perspectives to stuff, that I feel like either weren't shared or people don't know about.
No, and I definitely appreciate that. I mean, there's always two sides to every story, no doubt. But I think
that's what's hard about this story is like, I think like most people, like obviously you ask them, they like, of course they want like all this stuff like exposed. Like this guy like deserves like no mercy for what he did, no sympathy or anything like that. But it's also that's why it's so hard sometimes to defend Apple, because it's like you don't want to defend the terrorists because that's awful. But at the same time, there might be ramifications that once you open this box, you might not be able to close it. And according to Apple statements, that's basically what they're saying. Once you open this, once you create this back door, that's it. It exists forever, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, man, that's information that we will never know. But like I said, my argument still holds. Like I am not in a position where I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to risk the safety, privacy of 1.4 billion people for one terrorist. It's like Apple chief privacy officer said at CES this year. She's like, phones are small and they get lost easily. They usually have our health information, personal information, things like that on them, financial information, all that stuff. So when these phones are lost, Apple wants to make sure that they remain secure and you don't lose that sensitive data. And again, when you talk about that times a billion people, I'm not ready to put all that at risk to unlock one terrorist's phone. I'm just not.
Got you. That's TJ in the background.
Oh, what's up, TJ? What's up, bro? But what's up? But again, I agree with Trenton. Like these terrorists or these people that commit these crimes, they shouldn't be afforded the luxury of privacy.
Absolutely.
No, not really. No, not at all. Like, what are we talking about here? But it's just one of those crazy situations, man. It's one of those situations that it's unfortunate.
Now, here's the funny thing, right? And I was kind of waiting for someone to bring this point up, but I haven't seen it yet. When we talk about like terrorism, when we talk about FBI, we think about all these crazy, horrible things. But on the flip side, if like, let's say for whatever, and this is completely hypothetical, but I've kind of seen somewhat of a similar situation to this. Your grandmother, she's 89. She's taking all these wonderful pictures with her iPhone. And she, for whatever reason, got Alzheimer's and she can't remember how to get into her phone. Can't nobody remember to get into her phone. There's all these pictures that, we want to get off of there, but it's only on that phone. And, people start having this discussion, and like this was, I think, on Louis Rossman's channel. They're like, well, Apple says they can't even get that stuff off of the phone. And I'm like, wait, so you guys are cool with, other third-party services going into the phone and getting pictures off. But when we start talking about the terrorists, it's like, oh no, we're going to kill the world. So that part I kind of find a little bit funny on like the line that they decide to, say that this is okay and then this is not okay.
No, but what you just mentioned was like how third party can go and maybe have access to that data depending on what application was used. What we're talking about is Apple themselves not being able to get off that phone. And even in that situation, Apple would not be able to retrieve that data unless it was already on the iCloud service. They couldn't unlock that iPhone for anybody, not at all. And they wouldn't.
Right. I'm just saying, because like they had a story where people didn't use iCloud, right? They just saved everything locally to their device.
Right.
And they and I think there's still a way that you can I don't know if they patched it, but I think there's still a way that through certain software and processes that you can get the pictures or get the information off of the phone. And everybody was happy and cool about it when it was pictures of a loved one. That's the part that I was talking about, where people are like kind of picking and choosing. Oh, okay, well this is totally fine, but it kind of rides along that same line.
Yeah, I can understand what you're saying, but I don't know if that method of retrieving those pictures exists today. If we're talking about stuff being locally on the phone and you need to get into an iPhone and that person with the dementia or whatever is the only person that knows that pack code, I don't think there's any way to get into that iPhone and get those pictures today at this moment.
Yeah, I got to follow up and see, because look on later on, but look on Louis Rossman's channel, because there was some other person that ran a repair shop and they did like a whole news story on it and everything. And I don't know if this was iOS 12 or iOS 13, but they're like, yeah, we got the pictures off of this phone. Even though Apple said that it couldn't be done.
I mean, it might be possible. The other ironic thing about this whole situation is, like I said in my video tonight, there was a U.S. district judge in California who who passed the ruling that stated that law enforcement could not force you, or they cannot force you to unlock your phone via your biometric, via your face or fingerprint. And she made that ruling based off the fact that the biometrics are akin to testimonial communication, meaning that they could be used to if you were to provide your biometrics, then it could possibly self-incriminate you. So it would be a violation of the Fourth and Fifth Amendment. So that's why she ruled that those can't be used to force you to unlock your iPhone. And I was just like, wow, that's kind of crazy that she made that ruling, but now we're talking about building FBI backdoors into iOS and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not even going to pretend like I know the law. Like, if anything, I watch Law and Order and I'm entertained by it. And I might need to watch like a video from Legal Eagle to really get caught up. But I was under the impression that was just according to like, there's been no proof of you committing a crime. Even reasonable suspicion doesn't go past that part. You know, like, if you got pulled over, the cops can't say, hey, let us look at your phone. And you say no. And then they're like, well, we're just going to stick your thumb on there anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, they would need like a search warrant. And
Yep.
then
Right.
I believe that's how it would go. But I've heard Rene Ritchie talk about this before, and he usually brings up like a good point. It's not something we have to worry about now, but it's something that we might have to worry about in the future, and then the laws we pass today might play into that. He always talks about, like, you know, one of the end goals for like technology is to eventually start implanting like technology into like human bodies, like cybernetic kind of stuff.
Oh,
And
right.
he always says, like, you know, you pass this law today saying you can get into an iPhone, but then picture 20 years down the road where all of a sudden maybe you have a computer chip in your head that stores information. Does the government have a right to access that? Because currently, you know, anything that's stored in your head, if you're a terrorist and you have information in your head about a next attack, there's really nothing the government can do about it unless maybe they torture you or something like that. But again, that information's stored in your head. There's nothing they can plug into it to get all that information out of you. But in a world where you might have cybernetics inside of you, it's like a creepy thing to think about, that, you know, if we don't have these privacy laws in place, that all of a sudden you're going to live in a world where, like, at any time someone can plug something into you and get access to every single bit of information. And Renee says, like, our phones are almost like that. They almost are like a second brain. We store so many things inside of it, you know, notes to ourselves, passwords, all this information. It's almost like a little second brain on there, but it's not too crazy to think of, you know, 20, 30 years down the line where that stuff's actually implanted inside of you. And then does the government have a right to access that? I think most people would say no, definitely not.
Right. I think Renee said, if you're not scared about the FBI or government officials unlocking your iPhone now, you might want to be scared if you ever get that information. Like you Grant said, if you get that in your head or something, you have a chip in your head and they can go into there and get that information from your head. It's like, yeah, then you might want to have some concern. Yeah. You're talking about a real invasion of privacy then, definitely.
Yeah.
Right. And then the thing that I kind of chuckle at a little bit, you know, because I'm in IT, you're in IT, Viper, so I'm pretty sure you kind of will roll with me on this a little bit, is most of the people, and I'm not talking about security experts because they're experts and they know what they're talking about. I'm talking about most of the people that have these conversations about security and privacy really don't want actual security and privacy. They want convenient security and privacy. They want something that's secure, but it's, you know, so easy that a caveman could do it type of deal, because they don't want to have to deal with doing stuff that's actually secure.
You know what, Trent? I completely agree. And a perfect example of that is two-factor authentication. How many people you know actually use two-factor authentication? I'm willing to bet not that many.
I mean, look, and this should be the part that scares you, right? So everybody talks about privacy. Everybody talks about the HIPAA Act and doctors and medical information and all that stuff. I get it. Nobody needs to know whether or not you got a 6-toe. I understand that part. What kills me is when I was working in a help desk, and a surgeon who's, like, you know, working on somebody calls in and says, hey, I need my password reset. I lost the Post-it note off of my monitor that had my password on it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yep.
it's like, okay, if it's not even being enforced at that level to where someone who's got you open on the table and all your stuff on the screen or whatever, and the surgeon's name you can find on the website or whatever, this dude writes his password down on a Post-it note and sticks it on a monitor for everybody to see. But these are the same people that cry about security.
You make a very good point, man. I can't really
Trenton, that is a great point as to why there should not be a backdoor password, because I guarantee you there's going to be someone at the FBI who has a sticky note with the password on their monitor.
Like I said, you need to have provisions in place.
It'll happen.
Oh, man.
Go into any office, in any office, there's going to be someone with the sticky note and some like weird word on it, and that's the password.
No doubt. So we got like 22 people watching this live stream. So I'm interested to get you all thought. What do you think about this? Do you guys think that Apple should unlock this phone for the FBI and this, that, and the other? Or do you guys think, like I do and Greg do you think that we need to keep these iPhones locked up and the FBI needs to find another way like they did 4 years ago? I'm interested to get you guys' thoughts in the chat here. But
I mean, that's got to be a. Now, I like Apple. Let me say this first.
Okay.
I'm a dear fan of Apple. We've had many different products that I bought from them. But they are going to turn this around and use this as a hell of a selling point.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
hey,
man.
we got a phone that even the FBI couldn't get into. Buy it.
It's funny because when I said something similar with when the Galaxy Note 10 Plus won Marquez and blind camera test last year, I was like, "Yo, Samsung is about to use this and market it all year long." All right, so we got some people in the chat here. Let's see. Tech 702 says the number one way privacy is violated is end user getting phished, not encryption. That is true. That is true. A lot of times people get tricked. He was like, look at the iCloud leak. Yep. All right. Tech Ethan, I agree with you and Greg. Okay. Maddie G says Apple shouldn't unlock the phone. The government can't keep secrets. And we said it much earlier. Like, even if they unlock that phone, that information is going to get into somebody's hands that it shouldn't be in. And there you go. Neil said, I'm torn like all of you, evidence on phone, but it compromises privacy for everyone else. Yep, pretty much. Dr. Donna said, I missed the first part. Who phoned it? Who phone is it? So Donna, we're talking about the guy who shot up the naval base in Florida. I think what was it, last year or whenever that was? And
I think he was a psychiatrist.
Yeah, something like that. This guy, unfortunately, he went to a naval base and he shot it up. They ended up killing him, but now the FBI wants Apple's assistance in unlocking his iPhone. And I mean, like I said, this whole trend today, I understand it. I completely agree that he should not have a right to privacy. But violating his privacy puts our privacy at risk, and I'm not about that life. So that's why we're having this live stream tonight to discuss this and get everybody's viewpoint, because there's a lot of different ways you can take this thing. But I think me and Greg feel like we're not ready to sacrifice all of our privacy for one terrorist. And I think Trenton kind of feels the same way, but he's making the stand for the other side that there are some cases that there should be a way to get into this guy's phone, especially if it has information that could be critical to their investigation and this, that, and the other, and which I can't really argue with that. But again, it just comes back to, you putting a billion devices and people at risk if you unlock this one iPhone potentially. So it's a sticky situation either way. And Jonathan said, nope, I can't think of a solid way of a win-win for every party involved. So I lean on the public privacy until something is thought of. Okay. All right. Let's see. Everything tech says law enforcement with the right warrant should have access. I mean, I don't know, because when they like I said back in 2016, when the FBI had the magistrate order for Apple to assist them, Apple still resisted, and the FBI ended up going to the third party because Apple wouldn't unlock the phone. So it's not that simple. God says, I don't think the government has any right to force a company to do something that can violate billions of people's privacy. Yep, pretty much my point. We can't let one terrorist change the way we live, giving into fear of what they want. Yep. Michael Pepper said, "Do they have a warrant?" They had a court order back in 2016, but for this particular situation last year, I don't think they had any type of they didn't have any type of a court order or warrant, none like that. They just sent the request to Apple to help them unlock the phone. And what Apple did was they gave them all the data on their iCloud servers as they were related to that guy's phone. But again, they would not unlock the phone for the FBI. So that's where we're at with that. Let's see. Everything says that it's not about privacy and it's not about everyone else. Unlocking one iPhone has no effect on everyone else. That is so not true, buddy. Again, if you give the FBI a way to break the code, the foundation of iOS, you are basically giving them a master key into every iPhone in existence and in the future. So yes, it does affect everybody else. It affects all of us.
And that's what they want. That's like the stated thing they want is a backdoor into any iPhone for future cases as well. It's not just one phone. They want a backdoor into every single iPhone in case they have to use it. They say they'll only use it on criminals, which again, I believe that. But the problem is once that backdoor is leaked out, the floodgates are open and it hacks rampant. People will be able to get into the phones very easily.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to keep locked up. All right, Tech 702 says, let me ask this. Is the phone more private than your home computer? A warrant is allowed in your home, underwear, and computer. How is that different?
And that's the other thing that I worry about is like with these, smart dumb speakers per se. Do those? I'm not sure how the HomePod works. I know you hate the thing, but does that fall under the same level of security and encryption that an iPhone does?
Well, for something like the HomePod, I believe it's anonymous. So I'm not sure. Right now, you can opt out of your data being collected for HomePods. It wasn't like that before. That they had that scandal where like they found these contractors listening to these things. Any voice service, someone is eventually going to have to listen to these requests to see if they're right. Right now on any Siri thing, you can opt out and say, don't collect any information on me. So Apple won't collect any of those recordings. I believe on Amazon Echo, though, like those aren't encrypted. Like you can go into like your Amazon Echo app and look at like everything you've asked your Echo. And it's kind of creepy. And because sometimes like it activates without you even saying anything. And you just hear these random conversations in your house. I believe there's no encryption, and the government does have access to that in some cases where they've solved cases or they got information from like an Amazon Echo in your house because it's not encrypted and everything's there for Amazon to see.
And sometimes the Echo will send your information to other parties that it shouldn't go to, and then you get that situation.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here. All right, so let's see what other comments we got here. Dr. Donna Walter said they want that looking for terrorist issues. That is the same problem with the red flag laws, which potentially can bypass due process, maybe with a court order from a judge. Like I said, even if like in the case of the case 4 years ago with the San Bernardino shooting and things like that, the FBI had a court order for Apple to assist them, and Apple still resisted. The Apple took their sweet ass time apparently, and that's when the FBI decided to go the third party route.
And that's the part I really don't get with them being, based in the US. And when you got like a court order, like you have, a signed court order declaration or whatnot, like I never understood how companies could get around that. Like if you're a regular person and someone hits you with a court order, there is nothing you can do against a court order. But if you're a company,
yeah,
that's kind of weird.
But I guess even with the court orders, you can resist them. And I think Apple will try to make the point that if they gave the FBI what they want, then they will be putting everybody at risk. And I think that's what the argument was back then, as it is now.
Yeah, and for Apple, it's more like they don't have the ability to do it now, so they would have to develop the ability to do this. So I think it's a little bit different. And of course, Apple has a lot of money, which means they can afford good lawyers. So it's not necessarily like they're not showing up in court. They're sending their lawyers going, hey, we can't do this. And to do this, we would have to, disobey all that. None of these cases have gone before like a Supreme Court. Obviously, if they went all the way up there, a law could potentially change where the Supreme Court could say to Apple, if you want to operate in the US, you have to develop a backdoor. But it's just never got to that point yet. And the FBI or law enforcement might even be scared to get it to that point, because if the Supreme Court rules, no, you can't make Apple do this, then it's that argument's thrown out for them forever. So they might not want to escalate it to that point right now.
Yeah. Hey, Genosis, don't worry, man. I had the location turned off for the important stuff like photos and cameras and things like that. Sometimes I have location settings turned on for different apps because I need that location setting on so I can use that app like Starbucks and things like that. So yeah, some of them are on, but the important ones are not on. So no worries there, man. Let's see. Tefini says, do you think if Apple agreed to give out the key to unlock the phone, that their customer is not going to buy iPhones in the future? Hell yes! Yes, that's another part of this. If we all found out that Apple gave up the goods and that the government had like a backdoor to into the iPhones and iOS, hell yes, they would lose customers. Yes. Yes.
They wouldn't lose that many customers.
Not that many. Yeah, I agree.
They would lose all 10 people that actually care about security.
They would lose customers. It would but Trent, the other thing with that is that Apple, the iPhone, one of the reasons why it's so popular is because of that privacy and security. Even if it's not a real thing, we all know that it's a myth. But to the average consumer, they're like, man, iPhone's a real secure. And if it got out that iPhone wasn't that secure, they would definitely take a hit. No. Apple's not about that life. No.
It would just be a damage to the brand reputation if Apple said one thing and did another thing, and then it'd be like, okay, how much would it affect sales? Who knows? But it would definitely be a negative for Apple, and that's something they don't do.
I mean, yeah, I just don't have enough faith in the Apple customer and the amount of people that really know about security or what security is. Like, I don't know. I kind of want to go to an Apple store and line up side and be like, hey, do you care whether or not this phone is secure? Are you still going to buy it? And I guarantee you maybe 1% might actually say yes. And the other 99% would start to assault me and say, why are you interrupting me from getting this lovely piece of glass that I want?
I think you would get more than 1%. I mean, don't forget, Apple is the same company who at last year put up a big ass billboard talking about what happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone. So I think more than 1% will be responded to the whole privacy thing. Trent, come on now.
Viper, man. Okay, look. I used to work at Best Buy, okay? I used to work at Walmart. I see the people that come in and buy these iPhones, okay? And not to really, talk bad about anybody, but security is the last thing on their mind. The first thing on their mind is, what's the monthly payment? What color does it come in? Does it take good pictures? Should I get a case for it? Like, I have never
Listen,
somebody
Mr.
be like,
Rant.
hey, man, is this thing really secure like they say
Listen,
it is?
Mr. Tech Rant, I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is that Apple markets security heavily. So you can't tell me that that's not on some people's mind as to why they buy iPhones. That is definitely on their mind.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying it's a lot less than people think.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree. Like I said, there is two-factor authentication out there, and probably not even 10% of people use it. Probably not even 5% use it.
Yeah, like that's
hell. I don't use it.
Thing.
I don't even use two-factor authentication, so that should tell you everything you need to know right there.
What? You don't use two-factor authentication?
No, God no. I ain't got time for all that. No,
you slipping, Viper.
I ain't slipping. I'm just real. Here's what it is.
Shoot. I mean,
I'll take that back. I think Apple has settings that kind of make you use it. So in those situations, I have to use it, but most of the time I don't use it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my security habits come back from like the military. Like when I was last time I was in was back, in 2008, 2009. They had us making our passwords minimum 13 characters.
Ooh.
You have to have uppercase letter, lowercase letter, a special character, and no two characters could repeat in a row or technically be side by side. and I'm pretty sure the requirements are similar, if not stronger now. And I still use that in the regular world. Like, if you were to see half of my passwords, you'd be like, dude, how do you even function?
Hope you got a password manager, bro.
I'm the same way. Every time like I give like a password to like my friends, it's like the longest thing ever, and they're like, why is this so long? I'm like, I it's security. Gotta log into Netflix. You gotta enter in a huge password.
Yeah, my family hates me for that, but
Yep.
I'm the one that actually remembers all of their passwords because they can't remember them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you don't say laugh path. He said path. I think laugh path.
I hate like I have like a bank that has like a password requirement, and they actually like you can't enter certain characters. I'm like, this is less secure. Let me enter whatever I want. Why are you imposing this restriction on me? Let me have full access to everything.
And speaking of security, since we're on it, I somewhat got into an argument with somebody. Well, they were actually customer service. And because it just dawned on me, like I was calling my bank, who will remain nameless right now. I was calling my bank and I called from a phone that wasn't mine, right? Because I didn't have my phone with me. I called from like a work phone, and they're like, "Oh, hey, blah blah blah," and I didn't have the information. I just typed 0, just live person. Finally get to somebody, and they're like, "Oh yeah, who am I speaking with today?" I'm like, "My name is Trenton Marshall." "Oh, okay. Just to verify some information for you, what's your phone number?" "Okay, my phone number is blah 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 blah." "All right, and what's your address?" "Blah blah 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 blah." "How may I help you today?" I'm like, "What?"
Yep.
I was like, wait. Aren't you guys supposed to ask for like my phone pin or anything else like that or whatever? They're like, "Yeah, but you met our requirements for verifying, which was, your phone number and your home address." And I was just like, I need to find somewhere new to bank.
Really? My God. Wow. Oh my God.
And I was shocked. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. So then I hung up the phone, because I got my information or whatever. I'm like, let me try this again. I called back like 2 hours later. Got the same thing. And I'm like, whoa, what am I missing here? Like, what's going on? So finally I talked to a supervisor, and then the supervisor was like, well, in our system, your work phone number is in our system, so that technically counts as a recognized device. I'm like, yeah, but come on, man. And they're like, well, if you want to set up 2-factor authentication for your bank account, I'm like, yes, let's go ahead and do that right now.
Trenton's like, y'all not secure enough. What the hell y'all doing over here?
I mean, think of that. Look, somebody has to figure out your phone number and your address for like utilities.
Yep.
Like if I knew your phone number and address, I could call up and, if I knew your name, I could pretend to be you and be like, yeah, I'm moving. I kind of need you to, just shut off electricity at this address, at this area,
It's kind of funny you say that, because even when I call into Verizon, I can't do anything on my account unless I give them the account PIN. So, like, hey, that's kind of weird that bank is operating that way.
So that's just, it's just, I don't know. Like I said, it's certain things that we're willing to die on a hill on, but there's other things that literally happen every single day, and everybody's just like, oh well.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this stuff happens all the time about different topics and things like that. It's just that right now we're on the privacy issue, but yeah, this stuff happens all the time, dude, no doubt.
It's crazy to think that the first iPhone, to unlock it, all you had to do was slide.
Right.
There was no security thought into that at all.
None. Slides unlock.
Slide to unlock. Yep.
And good old days.
It really was Apple that really when Touch ID came out, that's when like phones started to get a lot more secure, because a lot of people didn't even use, they had passcodes and stuff like that. A lot of people wouldn't even enter them though, because they took too long to enter. And then once you had like easy biometrics to get into your device, that's when all of a sudden people started using passcodes, and then passcodes are required, and now they want you to enter in like a giant password too as well, which a lot of people still, just do like the 4-digit one, which someone can break into in like 2 seconds.
Pretty much.
0 0 0 0 0 0.
Bye. Yo, shout out to Zach for the super chat. Thank you, sir. I can't highlight it since you're using the sticker, but you are noticed and appreciated.
I don't like the stickers. Like I don't know.
I mean, the stickers are all right. I just can't.
I don't like the designs for them. Like I'm like, yeah.
And StreamYard doesn't support them, so I can't highlight the comments when they're using stickers. So it's like,
That
damn it,
stinks.
grr. Yeah, like what the hell?
Like I was gonna send a sticker one time, and I couldn't find like a good one. I'm like, nah, I'll just type something.
Yeah.
No,
But
we got.
I'm gonna go ahead and head out. I got some stuff to wrap up.
All right, man. Well, thank you for joining me, dude. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Have a good night, dude.
Have a good one.
All right, take it easy.
It's always nice to get a varying opinion on a subject, because
he brought up a lot of good points too. So.
he did. I mean, I mean, of course, you guys can listen to me about how I feel about something, but it's always nice to have that counter argument and things like that. That's what creates debate and discussion. I mean, I can't really have a discussion by myself. Well, I could, but not really. And I think we're going to be joined here in a moment by Zach Talk Tech. It'll be interesting to get his thoughts on this whole situation too.
He's gonna say everything should be secure. So, just going a little bit off topic here.
Let's go.
So iPhone 12, one of them is rumored for a while now to do Touch ID. Like Touch ID is coming back in inbuilt fingerprint sensor.
I thought that was next year.
What?
I thought that was next year, not this year.
Oh, it's next year?
I think it's next year. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I might be wrong. I thought there was rumors that it might happen this year, but you're right. It might be for next year.
I think it's next year, but it's definitely been rumored to be coming back. Yes.
Now, do you think that? I don't think that Apple would get rid of Face ID, partly
No.
because they've like implemented so many things that require it, especially things, like Animoji, all that stuff. They built like other stuff besides just unlocking your phone. So do you think they'll just move to like the ultimate biometric security of just like, hey, fingerprint and face, and then no more passwords?
Yeah. Well, there'll always be a password because you all got to have
You
that.
get what I'm saying though? Like right now, if you reset your iPhone, you have to enter your password. You can't use Face ID. You can't use Touch ID.
Correct.
But if you had like a dual system like that, if you turned off your iPhone and turned it back on, maybe they would just go do your fingerprint and your face, and you can get in rather than having to type your password.
I highly doubt it. The password is not going anywhere. But I have argued for millennia that Apple should have more than one biometric point of entry on these iPhones. So I am glad that they're finally considering going down this route. Samsung has done this for eons, and Apple has just been like, no, either finger or face. You can't have both. And if either one doesn't work, then you got to go back to the archaic password. Why? That is so stupid and so Neanderthalic and so cavemanish that we should have multiple biometric points of entry. So I'm glad that Apple is bringing them back. And speaking of bringing them back, we got to bring in the man who just got off the plane, fresh in Canada, Calgary, Alberta, Zach Talk Tech with the popcorn. What's up, bro?
Okay, Geonosis, I got some bad news.
Well, here he comes.
There's no popcorn for Geonosis
Oh, man.
because it's so damn good.
Zach eating all the popcorn.
LOL. Hey guys, how's it going? This is the greatest right here. This is the
Strawberry shortcake.
strawberry cheesecake. Oh my god,
Getting so hungry. No.
it's so good. My wife's like, "Where's the strawberry cheesecake?" I'm like, "It's going downstairs."
So, Zach, I don't know how much of this you're up on. Do I need to?
I don't know. Give me the overview. I don't know what's going
Give
on.
you the overview. Okay.
All right, give her.
So, back in 2016, there was a shooting in California. It was in San Bernardino.
Yes, the locked thing, the locked
Yes.
phone thing. Okay, yep.
Back in 2016, the FBI requested that Apple help them unlock the shooter's iPhone. Apple refused because Tim Cook stated at the time that if Apple, because actually, no, let me go back. Apple refused because the FBI wanted Apple to build a backdoor into iOS because Apple doesn't have a way of unlocking iPhones unless they build a weakened version of iOS to get into these iPhones. So Apple refused. So actually, the FBI back in 2016 got a court order for Apple to assist them, but Apple was dragging their feet and taking their time. So the FBI went to a third-party Israeli company and had them brute force into the iPhone.
I remember that.
And then Apple patched it up, I think, a few months later once they found out what the exploit was, this, that, and the other. So fast forward to today or this week, and unfortunately, there was that shooting at the naval base in Florida. And once again, the FBI is asking Apple to assist with the unlocking the shooter's iPhone.
Yeah.
Now, Apple has since stated that they have given over all the information that was on that phone, on the iCloud server related to that phone. They gave it up to the FBI.
Okay.
But they will not unlock that iPhone for the FBI, just like they would 4 years ago.
Okay.
So that's where my video came from tonight. Renee Ritchie did a video about the 2 days ago.
You dropped it just before I got on the plane. I didn't have a chance to watch it.
Yeah, so that's the general gist of my video. I talked about why Apple didn't unlock the iPhone then and why they shouldn't unlock the iPhone now.
Okay.
Because if you unlock this one iPhone for this one terrorist, you are putting over 1 billion iOS users at risk, because then there's an exploit for their phones to be hacked and cracked.
So my opinion about this whole thing is this: it's more than just a black and white thing, in my opinion. I think there needs to be some checks and balances, whether it's both a team from Apple and a team from the FBI that have to come together and make sure, or even a third party, that both the FBI and or the NSA or whoever it is, CSI. I was going to say CSI. What's the other one? CIA. Okay, so those three government agencies, they have to come together and maybe pick a third party along with Apple. Okay, and then that third party oversees what information is opened up. Do you know what I mean? And it has to obviously be an extreme case like this. That's what I think. I think that's a solution right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That solution actually, I think, in my opinion, makes it more unsecure, because now you're introducing a third party into the equation.
Well, and you're going to have to, because I understand Apple's point of view, but I believe that national security and I believe that that's more important.
I would argue that creating an exploit creates a bigger national security issue than unlocking one iPhone of one terrorist, though.
Well, okay. I don't think the FBI or any security agency should just have access just to a backdoor. Like, I don't, because that can be exploited. Because look what happens every day with people's credit cards. Like my credit card, my Capital One card has been compromised 3 times last year. 3 times, right? And through those big exploits and everything that happened. And let's say there's somebody at the FBI that has that access, and they go and they leave, or someone leaves a computer unlocked one day, or somebody opens up an email, like a keylogger gets in there. So I don't think they should have just free range, but I think there should be some sort of checks and balances in place so that they can go do that under Apple's watchful eyes, or both their watchful eyes. It seems like that's kind of already in place through the courts. If that's the procedure that has to be in place right now, that's what's happening. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it introduces like a lot of issues, like Viper and I were talking about earlier in the stream, and just to make like a long story short, the what Apple's argument is that to do this they would have to open a back door.
Yep.
It wouldn't be for one phone; it would be for every phone.
Yep.
Just by making that back door, that means that anyone who got access to these, potential backdoor key, let's call it, would be able to access the phone. So even if you had a third party involved, even if you had the most stringent thing, you had to get a court approved order, you had to go to the secret facility and bring it to this area, that's where you could get the code to unlock the device. Because all it takes is one rogue employee to all of a sudden get this information, and then all of a sudden some hackers offering $100 million for the information.
All it takes is one rogue Apple employee to open up information right now, and we've seen that happen before.
No,
so
Apple doesn't have access to Apple can't open any phone right now.
You believe that?
Yes, I can only take them at their word. If Apple is lying to us, someone would expose them already by now. Like, it's been so long. Like, companies get exposed all the time.
I know. It's just a matter. It's just a matter of time before an Apple employee decides to, this is not a good example, but I mean, everybody's pictures and everything like that. Now we know how that happened with the whole fappening thing, because celebrities were clicking on stupid links, and celebrities are stupid. Right. But I'm just trying to say that, you know, it's just a matter of time. It's not a matter if, it's just a matter of time. It's that it's going to happen. So
what do you mean though by like a matter of time?
It's just a matter of time before an Apple employee exploits something, or maybe finally gets caught that they're exploiting something. Or
You would have to say that Apple is lying though, and all I can do as an honest actor is take Apple at their word that they don't have.
And I'm not saying no. So I'm not painting Apple at not their word. I believe them. I'm just saying there might be people that have that access or know how to access within Apple that could go rogue one day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if that ability exists.
I mean, we don't know until it happens, right?
Right.
As it stands right now. As it stands right.
I can't, like, you're talking about something potentially that like just doesn't exist at this point. Like
I know. We're doing hypotheticals here. I thought, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But you're saying to give up this access that might not exist. There might not be these Apple employees that know anything about this, and the only thing we can take right now are two opposing sides. The government of the U.S. wants a backdoor into these devices, and Apple says no backdoor exists. And by creating a backdoor, we expose everything out there.
Okay, so first of all, I believe when Apple says there's no backdoor. So I do believe in their security and everything. I've gotten myself ingrained enough to see the differences between my Android workflow and my Apple workflow, and my Apple workflow feels 1,000 times more secure. Okay, not to say that my Android workflow is not secure. Okay, so I do believe them when they say that. Now, when they say that we can't put a backdoor in, bull crap. Okay, give me a sledgehammer, I'll put a backdoor in the motherfucker.
Well, they say they could put a backdoor in, but by doing that, it would expose every single iPhone to potential vulnerabilities.
Okay,
going forward.
So I don't think any government aided entity at all should have blind open access to get into things. Again, that's where I think checks and balances need to come in place, and maybe possibly a third party to oversee when these kind of extreme situations happen.
Right. And again, I would almost agree with you to the point, like, if we could set up a system like that where we could be 100% sure that would happen, but we don't live in like this perfect world. And like I mentioned to Viper earlier on the stream, the US and Canada, we aren't the only countries out there. There's horrible countries that want this same access.
When did this happen?
And if Apple creates a backdoor for the US government, then China tomorrow is going to go, we want that too. Russia tomorrow is going to go, we want that too. And then Apple's not going to be able to go, oh, we can't do that for you guys, because once they do it for one country, every other single country.
No, and we've seen that, with like some Android devices, and also with Apple, where certain countries you have certain access to certain things on certain devices, and some countries you don't. Blah, 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 right. So no, I do not believe that any one government aided entity, no matter what the country, should have a instant backdoor access. I think there needs to be checks and balances in place, and if it comes to it, a third party. As it stands right now, the checks and balances are the courts pushing stuff through, right? Just like we've seen, right? So yeah,
look at that coming in there exactly.
Yeah, and I just unpacked just like that. Thank you, Greg, for helping me unpack.
Oh, you're welcome.
Check this out. This is a water bottle, and it has a battery built into it. Tilt gave me this. It's a water bottle, and this is a battery.
Why is that so funny, Greg?
No, it's I was remembering the stream where Zach was trying to sell us everything. Yeah,
it was Bender too.
A flashback. I had a flashback.
This wirelessly charges like, huh?
Yeah,
that's cool.
That was a good stream that night. That was a good stream.
That was a good stream.
That is pretty cool though. That you got the water bottle with the battery.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
I know, it's dope, right?
It's not going to shock you.
I asked them the same thing. They're like, "This is still a prototype." I'm like, "Okay." I'll still take it because, like, it's solid, man.
Oh man!
I was going to so the Future Tech Awards, they gave us a gift bag, and I actually have not looked in the gift bag yet. I don't know what's in this. I know it's full of stuff, but
go look in it.
Well, do you want to look at it now together? Like, I don't want to take over the stream. I have it here.
We want to look at the gift bag. Yeah.
Okay. You guys want to see what's inside the bag? Okay.
Yeah, we do.
What's in my bag?
Yeah. What's in your gift bag? Let's go.
First of all, let me say this. As opposed to when I was using a PC, I came home, just plugged in my MacBook, and here I am within 30 seconds. Like, that would never happen. Right. And it's good to be back home. I'm glad to be back in my chair. It's weird using a keyboard after using a MacBook for a whole week. I almost just like don't want to, but then I realized I have this
Actually,
beautiful screen.
before you do that, I need to send a congratulations in order. Congratulations to Judner and Ari. They are expecting a little one. Oh my lord. Yeah.
Judd's gonna be a daddy?
He's gonna be a daddy. Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope.
So shout out to Judner and Ari.
Now, where are they? They're in New York, correct?
I believe they're in New York, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna send them a Calgary Flames jersey for their kid. Gonna get that kid thinking correctly right away.
Oh, Lord.
All right, what's in the bag? All right.
What's in the bag?
So first of all, I don't know who. I think this is Future's logo. I could be wrong. Yeah. So they gave us this nice. It's a reusable bag. Okay. Everybody got one on the way out. I'm sure Marquez took like 4. This is a bag with a battery built into it. It's like a day bag. It's got a battery. Okay.
There you go.
All right. And then Top Greener. This is a wireless home automation Wi-Fi power plug. So I guess you would use this for Christmas lights or whatever.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a win.
And this is a Top Greener dual port USB charger. Always could use one of these like for travel. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
It's Qualcomm 3.0, so it's legit.
There you go.
We've got there we go. A Philips Hue wireless dimming. So it comes with the bulb and the switch.
And the hub, nice.
Yeah, so you can put that on the wall or something.
Greg, you have a visitor.
Yeah, my cat.
Janos says, Zach, do you have a trench coat? Yes, I use it for flashing. Anyway, what else we got here? We got a Tilt booklet. Like, okay, let me tell you this. If you're a company and you're handing out stuff like this at CES, you're killing trees. Nobody keeps these, but I kept this because Tilt is a new sponsor. Okay. Okay. Like I don't have enough Nomad cables, right? But thank you anyway, right? I might give that away. I got this is cool. I'll use this next time I go down to the United States. A Mint mobile SIM and phone number on here. There's like 1,000 minutes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'll pop this in my iPhone next time I'm in the United States. What else we got here? So in here, I already opened this actually, and there was a 5-hour energy, and I drank it just before I got home. Can you tell? And it's full of like napkins, and there's condoms in here. There's all sorts of stuff. Like, I mean, they weren't fooling around. They said, check the little bag inside your big bag tonight in case you need it, and that's what's in here. Thank you. Future people have a sense of humor. And then there's a battery in here. There's a battery in here, a little carry case, a little battery. This is a piece of paper. Thank you. And that's it. That's it.
Wait. We're about to get all types of demonetized up here, but did you just say they gave you a condom?
No, that little bag has like 3 condoms in it. Yeah.
What company gave you that?
Future. It's inside the gift bag from Future.
Would you trust a Future condom?
No,
oh Lord!
Couple
lost control of the stream.
Babies were made during CES, I think.
Dude, there's always babies popping up in like September after CES. You kidding me, man? You kidding me? There's so many divorces in February after CES.
Now?
Oh Lord!
But I went and saw your guys' Hoover Dam yesterday. Holy crap! Like, what an amazing sight that is.
It's huge. It's
just
huge.
Wow. Like, and then I was like, hey, I'm gonna hold my Pawtucket case over top of the. Did you see the video?
you were giving people anxiety out there.
There's people over here. They're going, what are you doing? And I'm like, don't worry, it won't fall. I hope. Wouldn't that make for great content if it did fall? Hashtag not sponsored anymore.
Jason C has the comment of the stream here. I think you should highlight that.
I didn't like making babies, so I made my own condom.
Oh God!
I don't like making babies, so I made my own condom.
When did it become an hour after hours live stream? Though?
Oh, good Lord! Man. Good Lord!
Only Zach.
That needs to be a parody video. Someone needs to be brave enough.
I want to make a T-shirt, but I don't know what yet. So, Greg, how are you?
Good.
I listened to a couple of your podcasts while I was gone.
Oh, hopefully
I was like listening to you guys. Yeah, it was good. When are you guys doing the Star Wars thing?
I don't know. I think Travis might be burnt out on that.
No. I want to get in on that.
All right, we'll have to set it up. I'll have to. Yeah, with CS and everything has been crazy. So Travis is barely alive. So
you know what's coming up in just a couple of weeks? Like literally, like 3 weeks from now is the S20 event, or whatever they're calling Unpacked. I guess they still call it Unpacked, right?
Yeah.
But
Greg ain't gonna hate me. I done took him away from his workflow tonight. He's never coming back.
I will eventually.
So at the TCL event, they had a photo booth, and I got a picture here with that's me and that's Brad from TCL, and then that's me. That's my new. That's gonna be that's the new portrait right there.
I don't like the way Colin looked. I made one. Oh Lord! Wow. What is happening here? What is happening here? I don't know what's going on right now.
Oh man!
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, apparently I missed Marquez by like 5 minutes that night, but I've still met a ton of people at the TCL.
You met goddamn everybody, man. You met all the people.
Of all the people I wanted to meet in person, just hang out with, it was Michael Fisher. And they know how they always say, don't meet your heroes. Well, it's a good thing he's not my hero, but he's damn near close. So, we had a good time. He's funny.
Speaking of Michael Fisher, people, for those of y'all watching, let me give you a little tidbit if you're not aware. The next episode of Vibe Drive, my podcast, is being recorded on Wednesday night. And my guest, Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile.
Really? On Wednesday?
Yeah. Wednesday night, baby. 8 o'clock Central Standard Time.
I will be in the chat and available to come in if you want me to, but I will not miss that. What time? 7 Central?
7 Central. Me and Mr. Mobile Wednesday night.
Beautiful. I'm there. I'm all over that.
Gonna have to yell at Travis. You were supposed to book him for Gadget Cast.
Because I have pictures of Michael from the party that
he is the hard person to lock down.
Yeah, I know.
No, there's no bad pictures. He just did one of these weird smiles before we took the one together. He was like this. He was like, and then he's like, okay, don't put that one online. I'm like, no problem.
He's in New York now, right? You got like a studio with like
he just moved. I think he just moved. Yeah, from Boston.
Yeah, he's in New York.
Yeah. I could go visit him. I should hit him up and be like,
hey, Donna, Easy comes on at 8 Central, so I'm going an hour before Easy on Wednesday.
Cool. It feels weird to be back in the studio.
Yeah, you're back with your lighting and your Star Wars posters and everything. You're back, man. You're back.
Using that DAT microphone last night for my stream and plugging it directly.
That mic was legit.
That worked out really well. I didn't think it would, but it worked out really well.
That mic
sounded great.
Yeah. No, I was very happy with that.
Yeah,
of course, I was like
right here. Setup, I'm like, whoa, that's genius.
Yeah, I just put on the Manfrotto Pixie Mini right there, and you can see it. You can see it in the frame. So I emailed a screenshot to the DD people. I'm like, do I get paid for this? They just wrote back LOL.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. I was like, wow, that's really smart. That's really good, and it sounded good. Yeah, you're right.
I worked on a bunch of things with a bunch of brands for product placement. So you guys are going to see a lot of. I shouldn't say a lot of it. It's not going to be excessive, but it'll be noticeable product placement for future videos. Not in your face, but it'll be apparent.
Yeah.
Zach needs to get paid.
This video is indirectly sponsored by.
Yeah.
Indirectly sponsored by.
Yeah.
Nomad.
Yeah. James Patak is a funny guy though. In the flesh. He's just like his Twitter.
I bet. I don't doubt it.
I said the word later case around him and his head practically exploded. We had to like sweep it up and everything. It's crazy.
Oh man. So Greg, any parting thoughts?
I think I said everything. I don't want to rehash everything.
I think you have.
If you watch the stream,
was this Gameski?
What do you mean? What? Oh, exactly. Oh man! Wow. Oh,
Keith, you're lucky you took that. Keith took the most epic picture of the Luxor. Did you see it?
No. What?
Okay, let me. I'll find it here. I'll bring it up.
Wow, what is happening in the comment section tonight? What is y'all? Oh, are y'all drunk tonight? What's going on around here?
No, they're just jealous of my moves of my moves.
Your moves, huh?
My moves.
Mr. Mobile Jr. out here rocking the vest and CES. I thought you do.
I was there, Trenton. I was there. I've explored some spaces. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I was there.
Greg, are you moving spaces too?
Considering it. I have no final plans or anything to announce just yet, but it's a consideration.
Wait a minute, did he say where the famous YouTuber creates?
All right, check this out. Keith took this picture. Gameski took this picture. I'm assuming he was staying at the Mandalay Bay.
Whoa, that is craziness.
I don't think there's any edits on this at all. I mean, he does headphones. I don't think he knows how to edit. So,
wow.
Except his own videos. Wow. No, Gameski, let us know in the chat. Did you edit this or anything? I don't think he did. I think this is just out of the camera.
Gameski, you better Zach trying to like downplay your creativity, man. You better
no.
Defend thyself.
I'm kidding, but no, that's the picture I used for yesterday's live stream thumbnail. It's nice though, right?
Very nice.
That's like I'm gonna put that on my phone as a background. That's nice.
Actually, Gameski happens to be very creative. He is a very good artist, actually.
Yeah.
The man can draw.
I just want to see his pawn shop channel because like he just finds those pawn shop deals, and I'm like, how are you finding like this MacBook for that price? Like,
yeah, if anyone
meant that,
GameSkey needs to do like a pawn shop like pickup headphone like episode. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
He says no edits, but he did graphic design and photography on the side for years.
Yeah, dude, man,
GameSkey is super nice in the flesh. Like everybody, it's good to see Jeff again. And Tech 702.
Oh,
yeah,
we have an update for this live stream. It looks like Apple responded to the Attorney General request to assist in unlocking that shooter's iPhone. Let me read this. Let me see what we got here. Oh, wait. All right, you guys. Good thing you guys stuck with me because we got a live update. So Apple has responded to the Attorney General Barr's inquiry into unlocking that iPhone. And Apple says, and I quote, well, actually, they released a statement. Statement goes, we were devastated to learn of the tragic terrorist attack on members of the U.S. Armed Services at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida on December 6th. We have the greatest respect for law enforcement and routinely work with police across the country on their investigations. When law enforcement requests our assistance, our teams work around the clock to provide them with the information we have. We reject the characterization that Apple has not provided substantive assistance in the Pensacola investigation. Our responses to their many requests since the attack have been timely, thorough, and ongoing. Within hours of the FBI's first request on December 6th, we produced a wide variety of information associated with the investigation. From December 7th through the 14th, we received 6 additional legal requests, and in response provided information including iCloud backup, account information, and transactional data for multiple accounts. We responded to each request promptly, often within hours, sharing information with FBI offices in Jacksonville, Pensacola, and New York. The queries resulted in many gigabytes of information that we turned over to investigators. In every instance, we responded with all of the information that we had. The FBI only notified us on January 6th that they needed additional assistance, a month after the attack occurred. Only then did we learn about the existence of a second iPhone associated with the investigation and the FBI's inability to access either iPhone. It was not until January 8th that we received a subpoena for information related to the second iPhone, which we responded to within hours. Early outreach is critical to accessing information and finding additional options. We are continuing to work with the FBI, and our engineering teams recently had a call to provide additional technical assistance. Apple has great respect for the Bureau's work, and we will work tirelessly to help them investigate this tragic attack on our nation. We have always maintained there is no such thing as a backdoor just for the good guys. Backdoors can be also exploited by those who threaten our national security and the data security of our customers. Today, law enforcement has access to more data than ever before in history, so Americans do not have to choose between weakening encryption and solving investigations. We feel strongly encryption is vital to protecting our country and our users' data. So basically, it was a bunch of nothing to get to the point that Greg has been reiterating all night. There is no way Apple can backdoor into an iPhone unless they built that backdoor. So that's basically what that was. But yeah, it seems like Apple has been complying with the FBI request. They have been capitulating to pretty much all the demands except for creating that backdoor because we know that's not happening. So there you have it. That is the update. That is the live response from Apple as it relates to this particular situation and purpose of this live stream.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, that being said, I'm going to go finish my pizza. So.
All right. Well, I think we.
I walk through the door. My kids don't even say hi, Dad. They're like, "What'd you guess?" I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, man. What'd you give me, Zach? What the hell?
The cat gave me more love. Hey, did you try any of that gamer stuff yet?
I have not. No, but okay. I will probably try some tonight.
Because you got the new containers. I want to see a picture online eventually here. So, but anyway, Greg, good seeing your face.
Nice seeing your face too.
Thank you for being white. Appreciate the white balance there. That's good.
What?
I'm just messing around. I'm tired, dude. I'm tired. I had a good flight. I was bored on the flight. They're like, we're gonna upgrade you, sir, to preferred, which is like right behind business. So the seats are just a little bit bigger and there's more leg room. And they're like, here's a free Wi-Fi. And I'm like, okay.
Tech rant that he pushing the smoke thing.
They're like, would you like a glass of red or white? I'm like, yes. So
and Tech 702 thinks encryption will be obsolete by the end of the decade. I don't know about that, bro.
Yeah, I think it'll just be easier. I had a couple Uber drivers, a couple Lyft drivers that asked me this question when I was there. They were asking me about biometrics and security and everything, and I told them, everybody wants a different password, and then people end up using the same passwords. I mean, you hear about it all the time, right? People use the same password, right?
Yep.
More banks, more. Everybody needs to start implementing biometrics, whether it's like key fob and stuff you press, or using a fingerprint or retina or face. Like, I'll tell you this: I feel more secure using my iPhone with Face ID, using my bank stuff, especially when I was traveling right now, than using my fingerprint on my Android. I don't know why I felt more secure. It just does.
Probably because Face ID or Face ID is more secure than Touch ID.
Yeah.
Fingerprint sensors in general.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But anyway, I guess we can wrap it up there. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. I appreciate you guys. We were here for like an hour and a half. Thank you to Greg and Trenton and Zach for joining me. Appreciate you, gent.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody that super chat, I think that was just you, Zach. Thank you very much.
We got a podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, I was about to say, your boy could be busy on. I'm still have another 2 videos to put out this week, which will probably go out Wednesday and Thursday if I keep to my schedule. But your boy will be busy on the live stream tomorrow night. I have the Painfully Honest Tech podcast with Zach and Jason, and as I told you guys earlier in a few minutes ago, Wednesday night we will be back here for Vibe Drive with Mr. Mobile. So that will be fun.
I can't wait for that. That's awesome, man.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
When did you lock that down? Did you lock it down today?
Today, yep.
Wow, man, that's crazy. That's good for you, man. I can't wait.
I'm gonna yell at Travis after this. So
he's good. You're gonna have fun with him, man. You're gonna have fun with him.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Line up some pictures and ask him for some context, like about the top of the palms and everything, because there was some funny stuff going on there just before that picture was taken.
I bet.
Yeah.
But until tomorrow night on the Painfully Honest Tech podcast, people, this your boy Viper, the man about tech. You know where to find me. So come back for more.